Hey y'all, I hope y'all are having a good weekend. So I'm back for another review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 6, Episode 9, ready to pop off. Okay, so this episode picked up the season, okay, a little bit more. I'm moving, so just excuse my boxes in the back. Anyway, so the Scotts, okay, are also moving. Now, Tisha was taping up one box and I was like, it looks awfully clean for somebody who's moving. Where are them kids y'all got? Ain't nobody else helping. It was just, and then she was like, it's going to take another 2 to 3 years for us to have our dream home. Another sacrifice I'm making. I was like, Tisha, I could go, I could really go in on Tisha, but I just, never mind. I'm not going to do it. So Marceau came back, gossiping to Tisha. Okay, so anyway, they're moving from that house to another house while they wait on Scott Manor. Shit, that house gonna be for their fucking grandkids at this point. So Marcel came back gossiping to Tisha and told her all about Tiffany and what she said to Sheree at the upscale party that Tisha had no knowledge of. Because they were still over there trying to figure that bullshit out with Kiki, right? So then we get in the back and forth and back and forth. So Tiffany comes home and told Lewis what happened. First of all, Tiffany is messy and she indulges and she lies and she extrapolates and everything else. You can't trust shit to come out her mouth. I don't know how you can marry somebody like that. But anyway, her and Martell got more in common than they care to admit. All right. So she told the story to Lewis after the convo with Martell and Marceau. Not before. The one she had with Sheree, right? She didn't tell her husband how she had mentioned, oh, what's it like to be with a cheater, so on and so forth. He was like, you asked that? I'm like, okay, but you only decided to tell your husband this. Now that Martell and Marceau have said something to you. Okay, so she said that Martell and Marceau came up to her as two men against one woman. Bitch, let me tell you something. And see, this is that Karen part that whether Marceau was right on purpose or on accident, he was right. Okay, they were not setting you up. You showed up to Black. Let's get the basics, okay? Black is owned by Marceau and Tisha. Marceau is where he's supposed to be. That is his place of business, okay, during the day. He owns that. He can be there any fucking time he wants to be. Let's go ahead and be clear about that. He was helping Martell with that builder's license, even though that's a waste of time because we know Martell don't know how to pass no test. Okay? And you know what you did. So cut it out. Don't try to act like they walked up on you on the street and started, on this and on that. Don't do that. Don't pull that. Don't pull it. All right, you a messy bitch. Okay? And they checked you about it. So Tisha said, well, Tiffany's prettiness is getting to her and she's used to getting away with it. I was with Marceau because I paused. I was like, huh? He was like, she's not that pretty. I was like, she's not. She really isn't. Okay? That's that. I'm sorry. And the Deep South don't make sense to a lot of people who are not from it. Even people who in it don't sometimes realize their mentality. But she is not pretty because she is biracial. I don't think she's pretty at all. I think she's also ugly inside. I know she's pregnant, but I'm not talking about the baby. I'm talking about her. And any bitch built like a Tetris block, I'm sorry, you not pretty just because you yellow in the face. Okay? Miss me with the bullshit. Okay? Now, I got the Tetris block thing from Patty LaHelle back when that was on YouTube. Anyway, all right. So Tisha and Marceau are two messy motherfuckers, and they enjoy being in the mess, in the muck and mire. All right. So Kimmy, then we get Kimmy and Maurice. Okay. So Kimmy has started radiation. All right. So she's talking about her hair and how losing it, she doesn't really feel pretty, so on and so forth. And that is tricky. It's tricky going through chemotherapy. It's very difficult. It can make you sick. There are different side effects for different people. And it's scary. She said, it's just hard when she doesn't feel pretty. To look at herself. She's like, my eyebrows starting to grow back in. Hair is starting to grow back in certain places quicker than others. She was like, I still don't have any hair under my underarms. And sometimes people will think, oh, that's one less thing. But chemo takes so much from you that what's normal to you is just, it's gone like that in the process of trying to keep from having cancer or to have the cancer killed. So Kimmy brings up the fact that they are having less sex with the cancer treatment. it just, let me tell y'all, chemo is tough. Like I said, my mother, just finished this bout of chemo. She'll still have radiation too. And it sucks. And it's scary. And so many things about your body and your self perception and then the actual cancerous disease is very scary. And so I feel Kimmy on that. But this conversation bothered me a lot. I So Kimmy's bringing up the fact they have less sex with the cancer treatment. She's asking Maurice how he feels about it. And I'm just thinking to myself, they go back and forth talking about the sex they have, don't have, how they come on each other, whatever. And I just stopped and thought, like, how do their sons feel about them discussing their sex life on TV? I know Kimmy's son is grown, but still. Monster is not, and he's in the house with them. Like, I don't know. I don't know how this reality TV set a kid's generation as they're moving into adulthood, how they are going to really fare. Because there's no way in hell this shit does not affect kids. So anyway, so Kimmy basically has been faking her orgasms with Maurice. Maurice don't know somebody can give orgasms anyway, but I ain't married to him. Anyway, she described having sex with Maurice, like going to church. Like sometimes you don't feel like it, and then once you're in it, you hear the sermon, you hear the song. I said, baby, I'm gonna need people not to ever compare my sex to church. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't. And Kimmy, honestly, in this Me Too moment, the conversation where you basically are trying to talk to Maurice about, I have sex just for you, so you'll be pleased. It was coming off really weird. And it actually kind of made me uncomfortable. That brings us to our next scene. Okay, so Kimmy is hanging out with her friend Andrea. Andrea looks like Andrea. Sorry, Andrea looks like she could be her sister. They look alike to me. So her friend Andrea got her real estate license. I said, nobody else in Huntsville, please don't get a real estate license. There won't be anybody else to sell houses to. But okay, so Kimmy is talking about her sex life again with her homegirl. All right, Kimmy sounds like she is more concerned, and this is just me reading based on what I saw. Okay, she's more worried about, to me, Maurice cheating on her. And so she's having sex with him to kind of curb his instinct to do that. I'm just saying that's what I'm perceiving why she's so gung-ho about it, because she doesn't feel like having sex, right? And that seems weird. And I don't know if that's a result of marrying a younger man. But I also think at the point in which you are battling breast cancer, your husband, not your boyfriend, not even your fiance, your husband has to be more mature and mature enough to just deal or go jack off in the shower or something and move on. I'm sorry. I think you are way too concerned about that. And I really do think the intention is to keep him from cheating on you because he can't be trusted. We don't know if he was with the linebacker or not. But whatever it is, I just think, Kimmy, that way too much of your energy is being spent on, quote unquote, taking care of Maurice. Don't worry about me. You are going through cancer, and I'm sorry. I know that's a thing. I can see if, you just wanted, if it had the opposite effect and your libido was through the roof, then that's different. But the fact that it's not, and you feel like you need to force yourself to do this, says to me that there's something wrong with Maurice's expectations and the way you feel like you have to please him. I don't know. Something about this I don't know. It didn't feel right. So anyway, then we get to Tiffany's baby shower, the main fucking event. Okay, because it had to be some messy shit. Well, anything about Tiffany, anything with Tiffany is going to be messy because that's just what she invokes. That's her spirit. So Maurice is asking, he turned to Kimmy and said, can I be a manservant for you? Can I go get your plate? And I was thinking to myself, yeah. Kimmy said, yeah, but I was thinking to myself, you should do that anyway, motherfucker. We not impressed. Anyway, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all who I don't like, though. All right, I'm just going in on Maurice because he part of the cast, but I'm going to tell y'all who I really don't like. Nell. Okay? Because Nell, please keep her off our camera. She does not read well. We get you and your husband went through infidelity, and then y'all's marriage came back together. But I don't like the fact that you were supposed to be close with Mel. Now, why does everybody's name either start with an M or rhyming and shit? Tisha and Tiffany. Okay? Now, Mel and Martell. But you were supposed to be like a mentor for her. And your husband was a mentor for like Martell because y'all were going through something. And and that's when Mel got mad through the table over at Martell because he enjoys pissing her off. But now you really coming off like I want to be on TV, and the person I was a mentor to has now surpassed me in many ways, and I want some of what she has, and I'll do what I need to do in front of this camera to stay on it. And that shit to me, especially at your age, is fucking pathetic. It's not cute, and I don't like it. All right, so Tisha said, anyway, Maurice asked her, where's Marceau? And she said, I'm not sure if he's coming. And Maurice kind of walks away, and he was like, really? And she tells Kimmy, she was like, he's not really feeling Tiffany right now. So then Tisha started telling the whole table, I don't know, the producers was like, speak up, tell the whole table about the story that Marceau told her that he heard from Martell from his conversation with Tiffany at Black. Like, telephone, okay? But the general idea, I guess, was there. So she starts telling everybody at the table. Mel walks in. Now, Mel comes to the baby shower looking beautiful as always and being nice to Tiffany. Too bad she didn't know that Tiffany was in her business, okay, stirring up trouble, okay, that honestly Martell found out about late. Okay, which was where Tiffany was asking Sheree all these questions. Sheree didn't mess up his night. She told him the next fucking day. Okay, and Mel at this point really has no idea how her and Martell aren't communicating. Martell don't have no real peace with this situation yet because he ain't even talked to Lou. But none of this and all the issues that Mel and Martell have, this didn't have to be one. And it doesn't even look like they're beefing over that, but that's not the point. The point is, Tiffany, you out of fucking pocket. You out of fucking pocket. And you call yourself being a friend? Whatever. So Mel came to the table where the cast and the fillers are sitting. I consider Nell and her husband fillers. But anyway, so Tisha said to Mel, look, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable about talking about Martell. So I'm just letting you know that's what we're talking about. And Mel's like, y'all ain't gonna make me feel uncomfortable about nothing. Now, I think Mel probably in her mind is like, fuck it. I know the circle is small. I know we taping. Whatever. I don't think Mel was mentally prepared, like, to hear the shit that comes out of their mouth. And not from Tisha, who she probably would have been more prepared for to hear her enemy say something than Nell. And that's why I don't like Nell. I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like her makeup. I don't like her weave. I don't like her attitude. I don't like her. All right? So then Nell says to Mel, who, like I said, is supposed to be a mentor and a source of support for Mel. And as she heard about Tiffany asking if Sheree felt like her P-word was good enough to keep him. Mel looks stunned. One, because that's vulgar as fuck. Okay? You're at a baby shower. You're desperate to be on camera, and it's coming off as such. Okay? Then people start asking Mel about Martell dating Sheree. Okay? Overhearing a conversation about Martell is one thing. Y'all asking her those kind of questions, like, what the fuck? With the exception of Kimmy. Kimmy is somebody who can stand up in what she says and just say, as a woman, I respect it. So, no, I'm not bringing up Sheree. She said it to us last week. She came to the baby shower and kept the same rules. I don't know what it is with the rest of y'all. Like, as a woman, y'all remember Kimmy? I don't know where that came from in my spirit. As a woman, I expect them to do that. It's you. Okay, anyway. Don't ask me where that came from because I don't even watch Breakfast Club like that, but that was years ago. All right, so anyway. So, Mel handled it, though, with grace, I have to say. She was like, yeah, we were on a panel together. They were speaking at something. She said she has no issues with Sheree. She was like, my issues lie with one person. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And Mel made it clear. Mel was like, look, I know how to leave a conversation. If I'm not feeling it, I don't want to be bothered with it. Trust me, I'll do that. Even if it means just going to make me a plate of food to get away with it. Yes. And people can say, oh, you avoid it. You goddamn right. I don't want to be in no shit. And I don't understand grown women, mid-30s, in their 40s, Nell in her fucking 60s, who call themselves getting it out on the table. Like I said last week, everything that people know or have doesn't need to come out on the table. All it does is sometimes work that energy back up, those same feelings back up, and you can't get past it that way. You don't always need to know every fucking thing that somebody has said or done if you want to move on. Sometimes you just got to be like, you know what? I'm going to leave it there. Like, you know what I mean? And I just feel like at this point, what they're doing is hurtful. And the reason why I say that isn't just because they're on TV. I've seen women do that to other women before, right? Like, oh, well, I saw him. I mean, just even in college, like you start to pick up on it after a time. Oh, I saw that guy you were talking to at a party. I saw him talking to somebody else. Like, and the thing is, like, somebody who may just be in the dating stages, whatever. We know how that goes. Okay, but I just felt like there were a lot of women, even when I was in college and my mid-20s, I got away from those kind of bitches, who would say that. I know those kind of things were said to me occasionally and said to other young women. I feel like just to like hurt them. Like, yeah, your man is doing this. Yeah, your man is doing that. And you know how it feels to be betrayed or feel betrayed or kind of embarrassed when somebody's not being faithful to you and the way you are to them. And that's what it feels like to me. And people who are married should know better. And that's why I find this shit annoying. All right, Mel got up and left when Martell came, and I don't fucking blame her. He shows his fucking ass everywhere he goes. Martell is I feel like Martell is an abuser, and I'm not, maybe not physically or anything like that, but certainly in the way that he tries to control Mel. And I think he showed up to a baby shower for somebody he basically was pissed off at, Tiffany. As he said in the confessionals, it's not like we're real close friends, because he thought Mel was going to be there. Like, I really think that was his main intention on coming. And he even said, well, Mel's avoiding me, so I'm going to go talk to Lou. Like, that was not his first order of business. Like, honestly, I feel like he's one of the people, I said what I said. You know, like, whatever. And men don't be breaking their neck to be a baby showers like that. Like, especially not for friends. I mean, unless you, like, tight, or even close. Men are there to help pick up the shit at the end of it, but that's about it. So Lou addresses outside Martell, and he addresses Marceau and Martell about what Tiffany had told him. That was already a mistake, Lou. That shit, you should have fact checked like a motherfucker. You should have asked producers, can you roll back that tape before you went saying anything? So Martell was like, he said, well, y'all approached my wife. He was like, well, we didn't really approach her. He said, but we did address some stuff that came up. Like I said, Tiffany, yes, did show up to the restaurant, we think, with the intention of discussing the Selma thing with Martell. Fine. The bottom line is, Marceau was at the restaurant because he fucking owns it. Okay? Martell is there getting tutoring lessons that we know he still ain't gonna pass that fucking test. And Tiffany shows up. So it wasn't like they were approaching her. Marceau was sitting there just taking it all in. So don't try to act like they ganged up on your wife. And your wife started this shit. I'm sorry. And typically I would not defend this because all this men and women's business, or men disrespecting women. And I hate that I even have to go up for Martell in this moment. But I'm sorry. He was not fucking wrong. And honestly, like I said, he could have handled that a whole lot worse. We've seen him behave worse. Okay? So anyway, so Martell said it only became an extended conversation because of how I was feeling about what she did to Sheree or whatever. Right? So Lou asked Marceau about the Karen comment and then asked, well, what's a Karen? What's a Karen? He said, oh my God, bro, you can't be serious. This is your first time hearing the comment? He said, no, what's that mean? That means a biracial woman? And I was just like, Lou, that shit is so weak and so whack. So Lou was like, well, first of all, there were no negative factors in Tiffany saying what she said. My wife is just saying how she feels. Your wife is a grown woman. I am sorry. All of this, people just saying how they feel, like, that's not appropriate. That actually isn't appropriate. And I know we have this whole idea, well, you have to be true to yourself and self-care and all this other fuck shit. Okay, fine. Every time you think something, every time you want to know something, it is not appropriate to share that. It is not always appropriate to ask that. She is a grown fucking woman. She knows better. She does it because she does not care about other people and disregards their feelings very easily. And I would be concerned being married to anybody who is that dismissive of other people's feelings. Even if it's fucking Martell. Even if it is Sheree. Whether they're her friends or not. So when Marcel made the comment earlier in the episode, oh, she's a habitual line crosser. Yes. And Tisha was like, oh, she crosses boundaries. No, she ignores boundaries. She refuses to acknowledge people's boundaries. And that's her problem. So he was like, well, there were no negative factors. Doing, she said, she just says how she feels. Marcel jumped in and he was like, stop. And I was like, yes. I said, because that's some bullshit. She did it on purpose to be negative. She knew she was doing it with that little bitchy smirk. Okay. So then Lou said, well, you should have come to her. You should have come to me. Lou, for the last time, okay, Tiffany showed up at Marceau's fucking restaurant that he owns. Okay, not where he just simply works. Okay, not where he once in a while likes to go to smoke. No, he owns that shit. Okay, so don't say he's coming to her. Cut the bullshit. Okay, so Tiffany showed up at Marceau's restaurant to talk to Martel. And her expectations couldn't have been that high in terms of the level of a conversation. But anyway, Martel said, look, I don't have to go to you, Lou, before I go to Tiffany. And he was like, but you can say you were wrong. You can say you were wrong because you were. Martel, first of all, Lou, did you really think Martel was going to say he was wrong? Martel doesn't admit he's wrong when he is wrong, let alone right now when he's right. Fuck that shit. Tiffany was out of order. I'm sorry. And Maurice came outside because he's hearing shit escalate. And he was like, last thing we need is somebody fighting at a baby shower. Yes, Maurice. Yes. All right. So then Lou was like, well, my issue is number one, my wife is pregnant. And two, she's a female. And that should not have happened. Lou, I'm going to keep it real. Under any other circumstances, I probably would have rocked with you. But your wife is a repeat offender over and over and over again. She also knows she's pregnant. She also didn't have to approach that woman that way. She also chose to do that at Martel's party, which was selfish. Okay? You can be nosy and say, oh, I'm nosy. Yeah, plenty of people are nosy. That's not appropriate. You think your P word is good enough to keep... Like, why would you... I cannot rock with you on that. I can't. So she didn't have to behave the way she behaved while she was pregnant either. Okay, so that's a character flaw. After she gives birth to that child, she'll still be behaving like that. Like I said, Tiffany's not going to be a first-time mother. She's having a second child with her second husband. So the next thing we know, Stormy's fake ass is sitting with Tiffany for camera time, but Tiffany is getting really sick and nauseous and all this. And then is sent to go get Lou, and by that time, Martel and them are just like, okay. Martel can make peace with all these other people, but insist on making Mel miserable. I don't get it. All right, so the next thing, Lou comes inside, and she's crying and not feeling good. She's holding his face. She's saying, I'm nauseous, this, that, and the other. And Lou was asking her a whole lot of fucking questions. Like, okay, do you want me to get some water, some ice pack? And I was like, oh my gosh. This is that deep south stuff for real. All the things people will do before they call 911 to a hospital. But in the case that she's pregnant, Lou, like, and she seems to be almost about to give birth. I mean, really about to pop. Like, at that point, you don't think to call 911. Like, I was with Stormy when she was like, okay, call 911. I was like, yeah, what the hell is taking so long? Like, for what? Like, are you... Well, he may be a little slow. But anyway, that was Love and Marriage Huntsville. I will talk to y'all soon. Y'all have a wonderful weekend.